Recently, we pondered some of the horrible things that can happen when you boot up an old save. Things like forgetting which buttons do what, or getting more lost than England's World Cup hopes. See, we can talk football. Offside! There's another one. But then we asked you for your suggestions of old save nightmares, and boy oh boy did you collectively deliver. Here then are your suggestions for situations bound to arise when you boot up an old save that you haven't touched in ages.
Some video games let you barrel through using only your fists and your wits, but some others make you use items. Games with vast inventories do not mix well with old saves, as commenter Nate Hathaway keenly observes, registering frustration at those times when you forget you have an item to progress and spend the whole time looking for what to do to get through a door, over a chasm, get another item, etc. Coming back to an old game save is a recipe for itemized chaos as you try to overcome a particular obstacle, only to remember ages later that the solution has been stored in your character's virtual knapsack for bleeding ages. I mean, it's not really your fault. They picked up the item. They should remember they have it. Oh, they're not real, of course. Right. There's more item drama looming when you go back to your old saves, however. Commenter Jack Cooper chimes in, how about storing items you want/use/need in some obscure chest and you can never find it again? Seriously, Titan pilot Jack Cooper speaks the truth. Where did we put that thing? You know, the one with the bits? I swear it was in one of these. Why can't we just put our dog's cool bandana back when we finish playing with it? I knew I should have used the Dewey Decimal System. Sorry, dog meat.
When disaster is imminent, our first reaction may be to just pause time and try and escape that entire situation.
Hey Ellen, hold this grenade for me!
But while doing so may grant temporary relief, when time starts up again, all the badness is still there waiting for you. Commenter Soren64 knows the same is true in games, saying, here's a good one, load up an old save to just get stuck in an infinite death loop. Did you end up saving your game right at death's door? Then returning to that save isn't gonna help you, Buster. If you log your progress at the wrong time, your save game can turn into the very opposite of saving, trapping your character in a farcical death cycle. You might spend a painful hour trying to wriggle out of it with a series of perfectly timed maneuvers, but if the Grim Reaper has you on his list, there's nothing to be done. Your only recourse is to load up an older save, and God knows how long ago that was. In a way, the death loop is a beautiful metaphor for the inevitable nature of life itself. In other ways, it's a real kick in the shins.
Not all of us have the luxury of owning our own PC or console. If you have a sibling, chances are you've had to share at some point in your life. Commenter Antoshka Half Human knows the pain all too well, noting, playing Morrowind years back as a kid, having a twin, loading up after a couple years break from it, forgetting which were my saves and which were hers. Your brothers or sisters might share a whole heap of genes with you, but that doesn't mean they like to play games the same way. Imagine firing up an old favourite to find everything's all evil and on fire. You know, more than usual. Oh God, is this really how my little brother likes to play? Should I be asking Mum and Dad to install a protective mesh around my half of the bunk bed? What happened to my lovely save where everyone was still breathing?
I never thought I'd see the chosen one in the flesh.
Is this because of those hand-me-down clothes? Because I can pop to H&M. Nobody has to die here.
Please.
Don't ya?
No. Please don't.
We touched upon how when you load up an old save you have to get used to the controls again and remember what skills you had, but what if you've just completely forgotten how to play the game? Like Josh LZK, who confessed. Skill-based games. You stop playing for a while, for some reason or other, and a couple months later you discover to your horror that your skills have dulled to the point where you can't even properly deal with regular enemies anymore. Even the best of us can go from MLG to noob if we're out of practice. You know everything you have at your disposal, and you used to be an absolute boss, but now your timing's just off, or some other excuse you think up as your enemies destroy you? I was good once! honest. Or you could have the complete opposite experience, like Aliar, who said, when you load an old save that you stopped playing because of rage quit, and then you pass it on the first play. Like, WTF, it was easier than I remember. Yeah, sometimes time away from the game means you're actually better when you come back, most likely due to being a lot less tense and stressed like you were the first time. Suddenly you're doing everything right and you manage to push past that wall you previously hit. See, sometimes rage quitting's a good thing.
You keep telling yourself that.
Shut up!
Sometimes when you go back to an old save, you've forgotten what you were doing when you last played. Sometimes when you go back to an old save, you are suddenly reminded of your previous misdeeds, such as Austin Heartless, who said, loaded up Skyrim for the first time in 6 months, forgot that I'd killed everyone in Whiterun. That's quite the misdeed. Okay, let's be honest, even the most level-headed of us can slip into a murderous rampage in a world of NPCs who keep getting in your way, keep talking to you, or just, well, exist. However, this means it can be very confusing when you load up your old save and find a town completely decimated because you decided to send everyone to oblivion. Now you have no one to get information or quests from and no one to trade with to buy all the crap you've gathered around the world. On the plus side, everything's a lot easier to steal now.
All these old save woes are stressful, but there's one thing that can happen to those vintage save states that's truly heartbreaking, and commenter Boeing Stratofortress knows exactly what that is. You forgot the last thing. When everything's going well, you're not having any problems. Error. Game save corrupted. Yes, sadly game saves are made of digital data, that most frail of mediums. It only takes a single 0 swapped to a 1, and whammo, your most precious save data is twisted into more of an unreadable mess than Ellen's Outside Xbox fanfiction. Andy, you have eaten all the blackcurrant jam, exclaimed Mike, and we may be trapped on Smuggler's Island for another week or more. I'm sorry, I can't read this.
Mike and Andy OTP!
A corrupted save file is the mother of all save woes. The only thing more humiliating is realising you deleted your save yourself while absent-mindedly clearing out some hard drive space. Goodbye, unlocked armour of Brutus, we hardly wore ye.
We love when developers really care about their games and want their players to have the best experience possible, but nowadays that does bring up one problem, which the fan art Fish touched upon. One of my pet peeves when it comes to revisiting old games is sitting there waiting for a big update to finish. Nothing is so frustrating as booting up a game you've not played in ages, only to find that it needs a massive update. Now, instead of playing the game you actually want to play, you have to impatiently sit there and wait for it to download, or if you have a really bad internet connection, give up and play something else entirely because it won't finish downloading until next week. My internet is so slow, you guys.
Finally, there is the ultimate old save move, as suggested by commenter Shadonian. There's only one thing I do when I start up an old save: forget everything and restart. The smiley face in Shadonian's comment is a reminder that, guys, we've just got to be a bit zen about this stuff. Trying to relearn everything in the game is too stressful. Sometimes you just have to give up, cut your losses and start from scratch. You need those opening tutorials to remind you how to play the game, and you need the other 30 hours of playtime to become half decent at it. When it all gets too much, there's just no shame in restarting.
Recently, we pondered some of the horrible things that can happen when...
No.
So those were your picks of things that can go wrong when you boot up an old save. If you want to watch something else, then you're in luck. We have lots of videos, and here are just a few arranged here right now. This one's great, this one arguably even better. I mean, just try them out. Go on.